Hey, y'all, Doug with D&E in the garage here. Today I want to talk about the Jeep Wave, okay? So I pulled out one of my favorite mugs. Let's get ready to get into it. The Jeep Wave, for those that don't know, is a visual greeting that one Jeep driver gives to another as their vehicles pass on the road. It's usually something like 2 fingers off the steering wheel, hand out the window. It's a hello, it's a greeting, it's an acknowledgement. Hey, you drive a Jeep, I drive a Jeep. We're in the same brotherhood, you know, we're in the same family. It's a really cool part of our culture as Jeep drivers, and I know personally it's something I look forward to, all right? I love giving Jeep Waves, I love getting Jeep Waves. It's something that, to my understanding, has been around as long as Jeeps have. There's actually several different origin stories for the Jeep Wave, but one of the coolest ones, and the one that I choose to believe because of how interesting it is that the Jeep Wave dates back to the battlefields of World War II, all right? When 2 Jeeps would pass each other on the battlefield, one might be containing enlisted men and the other one might have an officer in it. And typical military protocol would suggest that you have to salute the officer, right? Which is not necessarily something you want to do on the battlefield. You don't want to make an officer's presence known to enemy snipers or infantry. So one theory of the Jeep Wave suggests that perhaps the Jeep Wave was something that someone in one Jeep would give to an officer in another Jeep so that he could still show respect but not make his presence super known. Now, I'm not a military guy, I can't validate that, but it's certainly an interesting potential origin story. I really like it, especially given where Jeep began on the battlefields of World War II. Either way, the Jeep Wave has been part of our brand as long as our brand has been around. All right, and the reason I'm bringing it up today is because there are some issues with the Jeep Wave, and I would like to share my opinions on what's wrong with the Jeep Wave and how we could use it better. All right, how we're missing out on portions of the Jeep Wave, and how we should be using the Jeep Wave, and how we should be using the Jeep Wave to further our brand, all right? Let me explain all this. Stick with me, all right? Let's talk about a couple of the issues first. The first issue that there is with the Jeep Wave is that not everybody knows about it. It's not uncommon, especially new Jeep drivers, young Jeep drivers, all right, to pass a newer Jeep, let's call it, you know, like a Wrangler JK, and you give the wave, and you know, the lady behind the wheel gives you a look like, what, do I know you? I definitely don't know you. You know what I mean? They just give you this baffled look because they don't know that the Jeep Wave is a thing. They don't know that I'm saying hello, hey, I like your Jeep. You know what I mean? Wave back to me, tell me you like my Jeep, you know? That's the first issue, and that makes sense. I mean, if it's your first Jeep and you never had Jeeps in the family or friends with Jeeps, how are you supposed to know about the Jeep Wave, you know? The second problem is a much bigger issue, and this is where my entire thought process is going. Let me first, before I get into that one, let me tell you how I even started thinking about this. Let me give you a little story time. I'm driving to work the other day, and I stop at a stoplight, and across on the other, stopped at the same, coming my direction at the other side of the stoplight, is a Cherokee. And you know, I drive daily a pretty much bone stock Cherokee. From the outside, it appears to be bone stock. This Cherokee on the other side of the intersection, that was not the case, all right? It was hunter green, looked like it was definitely in the 97 to 01 range. Lifted up, had to be 8 inches, 35 plus inch tires, 12.5 inch tread, welded bumpers in the front, welded bumper in the back, roof racks, LED lights, winch. The back of it was actually cut off. You know, sometimes they'll do that with Cherokees and Grand Cherokees. They'll cut off that back third to almost make it like a weird pickup looking thing. Point is, there was some time and energy into this guy's Jeep. This guy had Jeep cred, all right? And when the light turned green and we took off, he waved to me. And I couldn't believe it. I was not expecting this guy to wave, so I didn't wave back. By the time I realized what happened, he was long gone in my rearview mirror. All right, and if you've ever missed a Jeep Wave, you know that that eats you up all day long. I wanted to go and find this guy and be like, hey buddy, I am so sorry. I love your Jeep. Thank you for recognizing that I also drive a Cherokee. I just didn't expect you to wave, all right? Please forgive me, you know what I mean? Because missing a Jeep Wave is a pretty heavy offense in the Jeep community, all right? Somebody waves to you, you wave back, especially if their Jeep is bigger than yours, all right? Now let's get to why I wasn't expecting a wave from him, and the second problem with the Jeep Wave. All right, the second problem with the Jeep Wave is that there's a hierarchy. All right, it's unspoken, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's very spoken that not all Jeeps are real Jeeps. Therefore, not all Jeeps deserve a Jeep Wave. All right. First of all, a classic Jeep. You got your Wagoneers, your Gladiators, any CJ, any classic car out on the road gets a wave. From me anyway, and people I know, you know what I mean? If I pass a classic Mustang, if I pass anything, any classic car, any cool old car, yeah, you get the wave, you know what I mean? A recognition of, hey man, that is a very cool car you're driving, and I respect what you're doing driving that around right now. So classic Jeeps, obviously, CJs, but there's a thing in the Wrangler community that Wranglers are the only real Jeeps, you know what I mean? So only other Wranglers get the Jeep Wave. They don't consider the newer Jeeps to be real Jeeps. They don't consider the four-door Grand Cherokees to be real Jeeps. Therefore, they're not part of the brotherhood. They're not real enough. They're not in there enough to get the wave, all right? In fact, when I first started getting into Jeeps and giving Jeep Waves, I had my own criteria. All right, I've never owned a Wrangler. Not that I don't like them per se, I just have always been into Cherokees and Grand Cherokees. So when I first started giving waves from my lofty perch and my lifted WJ, I would only give waves to Jeeps that had obviously the owner had put some time into, all right, to make them more off-road ready. So if you drive past me in a stock YJ, I was not waving to you, all right? Now, if you drove past me in a WK that was lifted up with some tires and some bumpers, whatever, I was gonna give you a wave, you know what I mean? I justified that those were the real Jeepers, you know what I mean? That's not true, and I no longer believe that, and that's where this whole thing comes, all right? When this guy passed me and he respected my XJ. He was saying, hey man, you're a Jeeper, I'm a Jeeper. Who cares that he's all the way up here and I'm driving this stock XJ, you know what I mean? He was recognizing 7 slats, we're in that brotherhood, we're in that family, you know what I mean? When I didn't even think to wave to him, it got me thinking about, like, why shouldn't I have given that guy a wave? Why would I not let him know that I thought his Jeep was awesome? You know what I mean? As I was looking at it across the thing, I was like, dang, that's a cool XJ. You know what I mean? And it goes back to this hierarchy. I've come to not expect Jeep waves, all right? Because I don't drive a Wrangler. You know what I mean? And that's a problem, and it's an even bigger problem with the newer Jeeps, all right? I know some people that don't think new Wranglers deserve waves, and they certainly don't think that somebody driving a new Renegade, a new Cherokee, a new Patriot, the Compass, all right? They don't think that those Jeeps deserve waves, all right? And what the whole point of this whole conversation is, I would like to change your mind, all right? I've thought about this and processed this, and I believe we are misusing the Jeep Wave by being stingy with our Jeep Waves, and we need to open it up. All right, let's dig into that. Let's dig into that idea. What is a Jeep Wave? All right, I already said it. It's an acknowledgement. It's a hello. All right, it's a hey, we're in the Jeep family together. You bought a Jeep, I bought a Jeep. What's up? Now, why do we do that? All right, what is it about the Jeep brand that says so much more about its drivers that have created such a tight-knit community? All right, it's the fact that when you buy a Jeep, all right, you're not buying a normal car. I don't care if you're buying a Wrangler or a Renegade, all right? You're not buying a normal car. The people who are out there buying the Renegades today, all right, they bought the Renegade or the new Cherokee or a Patriot or a Compass or a new Grand Cherokee because it checked the boxes for what they needed in a car, all right? If you bought a Renegade, what are some of the other vehicles you might have been looking at that are in that class? Like the Scion toaster looking thing, Nissan Cube, maybe a Toyota RAV4. Now, what made that person steer towards the Renegade as opposed to going and buying the Toyota RAV4? I don't know, I can't even think. Maybe a Ford Escape. I don't know what else would be in that category per se. The reason they got a Jeep is because they wanted what the Jeep brand has to offer. All right, they could have bought anything else that's in that class. It would have checked all the boxes of what they needed, but they didn't because they are a Jeep type person. All right, well, what is a Jeep type person? I like to think of it like this. All right, Jeep people look for life where the pavement ends, and that can mean figuratively or literally. Literally, of course, means on the weekends I get in my lifted WJ and I go and find some rocks and mud to crawl over, around, and through. All right? Figuratively, being a type of person who figuratively finds life where the blacktop ends means I don't like to drive anything that's not a Jeep. Even if it's a bone stock XJ like I drive, because I don't know where life's gonna take me. Maybe my day takes me to a place where I want to be able to take the bumpy dirt road around to the far side of the lake. Maybe my Friday night takes me someplace where I want to be able to drive my Jeep, my vehicle, to a bonfire in the way back of a cornfield. You know what I mean? You can't do that with every vehicle. The reason you buy a Jeep, even if it's a Jeep Renegade, is because you are that type of person. All right? You are the adventurous type of person. You don't know where life's going to take you, but you know that you want to be ready for it. All right? Maybe your life also necessitates a smaller vehicle. Maybe it necessitates whatever a new Cherokee has to offer. Here's the thing. All right? A Cherokee, a new Compass, a Patriot, a Renegade is never going to be more capable off-road than a Wrangler. But they are all more capable than all the other vehicles in their class. Right? Read up on the four-wheel drive system that they're putting in the Renegade. It's pretty sophisticated. For such a tiny vehicle, that thing's on a Fiat frame. It's basically a Fiat 500 with different fascia. That's what a Renegade is. Fiat motor, Fiat frame. All they did was put a Jeep four-wheel drive system in it. And those kind of hideous taillights. Read up on the four-wheel drive system that is in the Renegade, the Compass, the Patriot. They are all crazy capable for their size. All right, they are offering capability that you would not get if you had gone and bought the Scion, I think it's the XB, or a Hyundai Tucson, whatever else might be in those vehicles' same range. All right, you're not going to get that same capability, and that's what draws people to them. All right, therefore, those people who buy the Renegade instead of investing in whatever else, they are Jeep people. All right, they absolutely share the same genes, the sameness inside that a Wrangler guy shares, or that somebody like me who buys a 20-year-old Jeep and lifts it up and modifies it. You know what I mean? They share the same need to be prepared for whatever life's going to throw at them. The same need to maybe disappear up in the woods. Now, maybe you do it every weekend and they do it once a year, but they are still going out of their way to make sure that the car in their driveway has that capability. All right? They are Jeep people. And furthermore, and this thought, when it occurred to me, it blew my friggin' mind. All right? Those people have done more for the Jeep brand than a guy like me ever has. I have done essentially nothing for the Jeep brand my entire life. Let me explain. All right? Anybody who knows me, ask anybody who knows me at all. Name the first thing that there is to know about Doug. They're going to say Jeep. All right? I live Jeep. I love Jeep, 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 Jeep. But I've never done anything for the brand because I've never bought a new Jeep. You think Jeep cares about how many 20-year-old Jeeps are in my driveway? No. I've never bought so much as a lug nut from them. I'm doing plenty to keep Iron Rock Off-Road, Clayton Off-Road, Rough Country, keep all them in business, all right? I'm keeping Cooper Tires in business, all right? I'm doing plenty to finance the next vehicle of all those people on Craigslist whose Jeeps I bought. I've never bought a Jeep. They don't care about my 20-year-old XJ. I'm sure that Jeep as a brand would much rather if I sent that thing to the crusher and go finance a new Cherokee. The people who are keeping our brand alive are the people buying the Renegades and the Compass and the Patriots and all the other new vehicles that are out there that we, as the elitist, old school, true Jeepers, off-road Jeepers, have deemed unworthy, all right? When in fact, they may be more worthy than us. And this is the big thing. I already expressed that the reason they went for a Renegade instead of a Hyundai Tucson or a Fiat 500, or honestly, if you bought a Renegade, a smart car might have been on the table. Thank God, because I don't want any more of those on the road. All right, the Renegade may be goofy, but I'd rather have Renegades on the road than smart cars. All right, I digress. What I was saying was, those people bought those vehicles because they are living the values of a Jeeper. All right. And they wanted the lifestyle. They wanted to be a part of that Jeep culture. You know what I mean? And we are denying that of them. The wave, the Jeep wave, is part of the Jeep culture. It's a huge part of it. All right, people know that Jeepers have this weird thing going on, and that I can't tell you how many people I know that drove whatever car their whole life, then they bought a Jeep, and then they never drove another different brand after that. People know that about Jeep. They know that Jeepers are a little weird, and Jeep people have their own thing going on, all right? So when they buy a Jeep to get in on that, they're expecting that experience. The wave is part of that experience. It's the most basic thing we can do to recognize, hey man, I may not totally agree with your choice, but at least it's a Jeep. We need them. We absolutely need those people to enjoy their Jeep experience, so that when their Renegade or Patriot is spent, they go and buy another Jeep. All right? If they don't, if people don't keep buying new Jeeps, the Jeep brand will go under. I mean, obviously, that's how it works. All right? That's how it works. If people don't buy, whatever ceases to exist. That's capitalism at its best. All right? Jeep has a long history of surviving. All the companies who owned us went under, and we were the only thing to come out of there victorious. Willys Overland made other cars. AMC owned us and made other cars. Chrysler has declared bankruptcy like 80 times, even though Jeep is the only thing that is ever selling on Chrysler. That doesn't continue if people aren't buying them. And people aren't going to buy them if they don't have a good experience. And I submit a big part of having a good experience is feeling that love, that sense of family that exists around a Jeep. That sense of family is what keeps our brand going and keeps making our brand so special. It's not just a car brand. Not to me, it's not, and not to most of you out there, I suspect. It's not just a car brand, it's a way of life. Our history is amazing and it's fascinating, and I want it to be there in the future. Listen, someday, way down the road, I'm gonna be tired of busted knuckles and oil spots on the driveway, and I'm gonna wanna buy a brand new car, and hopefully I'm gonna be able to afford it. I'm talking way down the road, all right? I hope that there's a Jeep brand around to sell me a car, because I don't want to give my hard-earned American dollars to any other brand besides Jeep. All right, I'll go and buy a brand new Wrangler. I'll go and buy a brand new Grand Cherokee if that's where I'm at in life. As long as they're still putting SRT motors in them, I will definitely buy a Grand Cherokee. The point is this, right? I understand why people are elitist. All right, the Wrangler's the only real Jeep. You know, when the Wrangler came out, CJ guys were like, that's not a real Jeep. The Wrangler is ridiculous, all right? True Jeep guys, CJ guys, they hated the YJ. They thought it was too low and it was too wide, and it was basically a car with a Jeep badge on it. You know what I mean? Sound familiar? It seems to always be the way, you know? People thought that about the Grand Cherokee. When it came out, when the Grand Cherokee replaced the Grand Wagoneer, true Jeepers were furious. Now today, there is some bad mother-loving stuff going on with XJs and WJs and XJs. The buggies they make out of some of those four-door unibody Jeeps that people used to call Chera cars and stuff are crazy. And I submit, in a few years, give the Renegade a chance. Give the Renegade a chance, because in a few years, you're going to see people, when they get cheap enough for idiots like me to afford them, you're going to see some cool stuff happen with Renegades. I guarantee it. It's already starting with the Patriot a little bit. All right, I've seen a couple really crazy Patriot builds. No, they're not rock crawling buggies, but considering what they're starting with, they're pretty wild. Let me try to bring this thing home by talking about another segment of automotive culture that uses the wave. All right, motorcycles. When you see two motorcycles pass, they always, without fail, they give that wave, right? It's usually under the left handlebar, just like little hand out to the side. Always, you know, they pass, and it doesn't matter if it's a Harley guy passing a Honda guy or a Suzuki guy passing a Victory guy. It doesn't matter. They always wave. It doesn't matter if it's 20 Harley guys passing one guy on a moped. All right, all 21 of those individuals wave. I've literally seen that. Why? Because it's the brotherhood of the two-wheel brotherhood. You know what I mean? It's that fraternity. It's that family. All right, bikers wave. They don't care what model you're on. They don't care what brand it is. All right, yeah, when you get to the bar, they'll argue with you all day about this, about that, about everything. But in front of everyone else, out in the real world, just the fact that you have a bike is enough to earn you a wave, all right? Just the fact that you own a Jeep is enough to earn you a wave. Yeah, after that, after the wave, we will argue about anything. We can and will and are definitely going to argue about every single thing from model to tire size to color to whatever, all right? Meet me on the forums. I love arguing about Jeeps, and I am always right, don't you know? But give them the wave. Then we'll argue about it, all right? That's never gonna go away. Humans argue about stuff, but show the respect, all right? At least they bought a Jeep, you know what I mean? You have that one thing in common, all right? That person is your brother or sister, whether you like it or not. Because think about your real family. There's plenty of real family that you like, and plenty of real family that you don't, and plenty of real family that you get along with, and plenty of real family that you don't even really want to admit is your real family. But they are your real family, all right? Show them a little respect. I don't care if you're in a sky-high Wrangler and they're a obvious soccer mom in a brand new Renegade. Wave to that soccer mom. And after a while, maybe she'll get why all these Wrangler guys are waving at her. She'll start waving back. There's nothing better than it's like a smile or a hug that you give from inside your car. A Jeep wave is the best. It makes my day when I get a Jeep wave. The best though is when you give a Jeep wave and then you get it back. That full circle thing is just crazy, which is why I felt so bad about not waving to that Cherokee guy. Next time I see him, he's in the town where I work, so next time I see him, I'm gonna give him 2 waves and that'll make up for it, all right? I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you get what I'm saying. This is important. I think this is the kind of little stuff that makes or breaks a brand. You know what I mean? Our culture is what keeps Jeep on top. There's so much more to our brand than just what's coming out today and what came out yesterday. There's so much love and energy around Jeep. Share that with the people buying Jeeps today. Share that with the new Jeeps, all right? If you liked this video, and obviously I hope you did, hit the like button on it, but share this video with a friend. I'm trying to get the word out, all right? I'm trying to revolutionize the Jeep wave here, all right? And maybe y'all won't even take me serious because I don't drive a Wrangler, you know what I mean? Like, that'd be crazy, right? I hope you do, though. This is important. Give the waves. Stop being stingy with them. Don't be a judgmental Jeeper. Give the wave, then argue, all right? Thanks for watching. See you next time. Give those Jeep waves or this wolf is going to come after you. That's how it goes, all right? I tried to ask nicely. Don't make me sick this dog on you. She's vicious. She's like 95% wolf. That was a wolf shake.